So I'll just do a little introduction. So thank you so much for everyone for coming along. If you are watching this, this is Lizzie. I'm so grateful to be here with my client Lizzie. Lizzie, over the last 6 months, she has gone from feeling super overwhelmed, second guessing her food choices, and struggling with migraines and your body confidence, to rebuilding complete trust around food, shedding like the last stubborn bits of body fat. I can't imagine there's much left. Eliminating your migraines and confidently wearing shorts and wearing dresses without picking your body apart and without overthinking it. And today we're just going to talk about what actually made that shift happen for her, because it wasn't just about trying harder and putting in more effort. Because, Lizzie, you're a hard worker as it is. You do a lot of things. You're a mum, so there's you try harder as it is. So thank you so much for being here and jumping on this recording very last minute. I appreciate you. Lizzie, before we started working together, what was going on for you? What were you experiencing in your life?
Um, I guess kind of before we started, I was in a bit of a state of high alert, that survival mode state. Um, I was constantly second guessing my food choices, um, and kind of my patterns, I guess. I was uninspired by things. I was incredibly reactive, um, like with my kids, with the family, with my schedule, um, and had a huge amount of negative self-talk that kind of was constantly there. So I guess I wasn't necessarily living my life. I was just kind of felt like I was managing stress continuously.
Yeah, I hear you. And you were training a lot. You still train a lot, right? So you were training a lot and still struggling to manage emotions, manage your stress, manage your nervous system, manage eating the way that you're eating as well, and not
Yeah.
overeating.
And I'd kind of got
Yeah.
stuck in old beliefs as
Okay.
well. So very much around what you should eat, when you should eat, how much you should eat.
Yeah.
Um,
How did
and
that feel, knowing that you had all of that information, but you just kind of didn't know what to apply?
um, kind of it was incredibly overwhelming. And like not, and I guess the not having or having a structure, but not necessarily knowing how to fit things within that structure. So knowing what it should have been, but not being able to necessarily replicate that.
Mm. What do you think you
So
were missing? Oh, sorry.
go,
What do you think you were missing before that you found now?
um, kind of, I think around not necessarily having to follow certain old rules,
Mm.
um, and being able to dial in and listen to what my own body is telling me. So I guess previous rules would have been very much around you have to eat X amount of something at this time. But if I don't feel like I need to at that time have anything, then I won't have anything. And if I feel like I need to have a bit more, then I can have a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, interesting. Does that come into like calorie counting and just following food rules and diet rules where they're not, from what I'm hearing is like what you were doing was everything by the book and you were counting calories and you're doing that, but it didn't give you the flexibility to listen to what your body actually needed.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I was very much down to a very strict schedule of what and when and how much. Um, and it didn't matter what my body was telling me at that time. I would just go through the motions and do what I was told.
Were you a calorie counter? I can't remember when
Yes.
we met.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so, because it's something that we don't do in my practice is count calories or count macros. So coming from a sports background, right? Because I'm going to throw this one out there. You used to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you used to perform, right? You used to go
Yes.
onto shows. So you've come from a very strict background of counting calories, counting every and weighing everything. So that was like your life. How was it making the transition to not counting a single thing and
Um,
trusting?
it was a process. It was a very difficult process.
Mm,
Um, but certainly a more liberating process in being
okay.
able to actually stop and listen and kind of be in tune with what I do need at a precise moment in time.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Amazing. You're doing really well. Thank you so much for sharing so far. I appreciate you. So, if you had to pick like one to two things that really changed the game for you, like just completely changed the way that you acted, the way that you behaved, what you believed, it could be anything. What stands out to you? What would they be?
Um, well, I think kind of instead of the dieting side of things, definitely having understanding how I am. So I don't track macros anymore. Um, Instead, I know how to build a plate that fuels me for what I need at that time. A really big part of my journey is around recognizing my nervous system states, um, and kind of being able to realize that sometimes my food problems were actually just my stress problems.
Mm,
Um, and by being able to regulate my emotions, then that helped with some healthy habits following naturally.
amazing. So, oh, you're gonna have to repeat those again. Sorry.
Not counting macros, so kind
Not
of getting rid of those old diet rules,
Yeah,
definitely.
beautiful. So fucking
Um,
those off out the window. Don't
yeah,
need you anymore. Not
yeah,
helpful for longevity, for
yeah,
sustainability. Yeah. Throwing the
yeah,
old diet rules out the window.
gone.
Learning how to.
Um,
Mm,
Learning how to kind of recognize my nervous system state.
right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and how some of those food problems were
Mm-hmm.
probably actually more around my stress problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then kind of a big one for me, I think, is around self-compassion. So, very much, I think my favorite word at the start of our journey was failure.
Mm.
Um, and
Yeah.
used to feel that I was a bit of a failure at lots of things, and life in general. But I think I've kind of learned how to adjust that thinking, and maintain a healthy status quo rather than just like throwing in the towel at any hiccup, um, and being able to have a lot more self-compassion.
Mm. That's interesting. So you had a lot of feelings and emotions and thoughts around being a failure. So you would give up very quickly. You'd give up very easily.
Yeah.
So it was almost you were creating this
If I wasn't
self-fulfilling
good at it,
prophecy.
then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there's only one way that we can get good at something is by practicing. But you're like, no, I'm not good at this, right?
Yeah.
Tried this one thing once and I'm not good at it, so that must mean I'm a failure. So you were continuing to reinstate the belief that you're a failure by giving yourself evidence that you're a failure, right? And so you're stuck in this cycle. Okay, that's really
Mm.
interesting. And giving yourself some self-compassion was one of the things that changed that for you.
Yes. Yeah. So kind of some self-compassion, reframing what actually is a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of being able to stop myself in a moment when everything's feeling like it's just all too much.
Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely. I love that. So, who are you now that you aren't 6 months ago?
Um,
Or that you weren't 6 months ago, should I
Gosh,
say?
it's a very good question. Um, I am certainly a lot more confident. So I would previously I would cover up with as many clothing items as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now I I wear the shorts to the gym. I wear the shorts to the shops. Um,
That's
I
amazing.
Yep, I got a short dress for Christmas. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that's very much a big mind shift for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Migraines were a huge issue for me when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost weekly, I'd be laid up with a migraine. Um, Loads of doctor's appointments, tests, everything, multiple medications, ended up being put on HRT to try and stop them. I came off HRT because I didn't have a migraine for so long and it was very expensive. And I'm still not getting migraines now, having taken myself off. So it's like that's been massive because it was at some points it was crippling. So yeah,
Mm.
it's
As
been a
someone,
huge factor.
yeah, as someone who experiences migraines, I can honestly say they are horrific, horrific, and it's just an instant, I can't go to work, I can't do anything right now.
Mm,
So I can personally like understand that how just the relief that you must have to not be burdened by them anymore. And
yeah,
that's not to say that they won't come back, but they haven't come back for a very long time. So we
no,
can probably close the door to that one and say, yeah, I'll see you later.
yeah,
How do you feel
yeah.
about saying goodbye to those?
I'd love to say goodbye to those again.
Well, you just have. We can say goodbye to migraines. What do you think? What would you put that down to if you could pinpoint
Yeah,
something?
I've always said that the main um, kind of factor in me getting migraines in the first place is around stress
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to effectively manage my stress. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, being able to kind of recognize and respond prior to anything reaching a peak
Wow.
with regards to stresses has really been able to help with that.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
previously I would, yeah, let something build up and build up, and then the migraine would come and I'd be laid up for a whole weekend. Um, Whereas now, if I start to feel a rumble or
Mm-hmm.
some clenching of my jaw or something, then I can acknowledge that this is coming and then be able to back off a bit.
Fantastic. The awareness that you have now
Mm,
around the negative thinking, the negative words, the awareness of your stress, your nervous system shifting gears, and you're like, whoa, 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 hang on, I don't need that anymore. The ability to shift it back and start and not let it spiral out of control. Now you can like just cut it and nip it in the bud. That is huge. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Lizzie, I really, really, truly am proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing. If someone's watching this and they feel stuck, they feel overwhelmed, or they're just not sure if coaching is right for them, what would you say to them?
um, what have you got to lose? Is what I would say. Like, um, I don't know. I am the one of the least articulate people I know.
I think you've
Um,
done freaking phenomenal today, by the way.
so many sessions I've sat there going, I don't know,
Mm,
was my frequent answer at the start.
hmm
Um,
hmm
but yeah, like seriously, what have you got to lose? I mean, it's really around kind of a rehabilitation of a relationship with yourself, I think. Um, and that's priceless at the end of the day.
Beautiful. I'm gonna cry. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Again, I am so, so proud of you, not just for the weight loss, but the confidence, the self-confidence, the self-trust, um, the reduction in anxiety, the reduction in stress, your nervous system calming back down. I'm so proud of the way that you handle your kids and confrontation with your kids, and I'm so proud that you're showing them how to understand and recognize their own stress and their own triggers. your journey hasn't just been for you. It's kind of had a ripple effect
Mhm.
into your family as well. And that's something that I also want you to see is they're changing because they're seeing you change. You know, you've done the work. You do the work. You come to me and say, "Yeah, I did that. I did that. I did that. Oh, didn't do that, but I did that." And that's what's created the change, right? You're going away, you're implementing, and you're seeing results. And if anyone's watching this thinking, you know, look at Lizzie, like she's just beaming, she's so calm. I want that kind of calmness. I want that serenity. I want that trust in myself. I want that confidence. Then just flick me a message. Um, because you know this is what sustainable change looks like. Thank you so much for being here, Lizzie. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.